Hi, I'm Irving, and I have no life, just like you. As you saw in my previous review, I love the game Bioshock. And I really like it when developers take a game that sets a standard of excellence and put enough effort into the sequels to keep the quality going. It also seems to me that some game makers miss the chance to do just that. Time Shift comes to mind. It's an outstanding game with a fairly unique premise, story, and gameplay, and there hasn't been a hint of anything beyond the first one, even though the first one left us hanging. So I'm thankful that the creators of Bioshock have gone on to make this into a series. For one thing, series games are what I review, so without that I wouldn't have anything to do. But more important, they give the gamer something to look forward to and a baseline to work from. In the case of Bioshock, you have your basic 1950s era weapons, and you also have plasmids. You have the subplot of the Little Sisters and the conflict between Andrew Ryan and Frank Fontaine. And it all takes place in a massive city 100 feet or so under the Atlantic Ocean. There's a lot you can do with that, and it's exciting to see the developers running with it. I hope they keep running with it for a very long time. As with any good game series, you have improvements and alterations along the way, but hold on to the basics that made the first game a hit. In this instance, we still have our weapons and plasmids, but now we have a little twist. We can use them both at the same time. I love it! And we have some more backstory. I was a little bugged that Bioshock 2 didn't really answer any of the questions I raised about Bioshock 1, but again, that leaves some good wiggle room to play with the story in Bioshock 3 and beyond. So I can't complain. Much. And besides, in exchange for bypassing some of those questions, you get to be a big daddy and kick some major butt. That's a fair trade. Hacking is very different. Remember the build-a-pipe game from the first one? Well, that may have been too much for some people, because now it's a lot simpler. Here's how it works. If you hit one of the blue areas in the process, whatever machine you're hacking will give you a bonus of some kind. An ammo machine like this one will give you extra rounds for one of your weapons, or a health station will give you a first aid kit, that sort of thing. It does go faster, and depending on how quick the needle's moving, it's quite a bit easier too. The opening cutscene shows you doing what big daddies do, protecting little sisters while they gather Adam from bodies around the city of Rapture. A group of splicers attacks your little sister and you go on the warpath. The problem is, one of them hits you with the hypnotized big daddy plasmid and you can't move. Then a mystery woman comes out and starts giving you orders. As your little sister looks on in horror, the woman makes you take off your helmet and shoot yourself in the head. This is going to be a short game. Oh, wait a minute. Next scene, it's 10 years later and you're struggling to regain consciousness. Huh? The game begins. So you start wandering around as you figure out how to use your controls, but there's something weird going on. Well, weird even for Rapture. There's some kind of critter jumping around so fast you can't tell what it is. But that's not important right now. You're on your way to pick up your first plasmid. As usual, it's the electro bolt, which lets you throw electricity. You also find something new, an Eve dispenser. That's a machine on the wall that gives you Eve hypos. Could have used a few of those in the first game. There are spare hypos lying around in various places as well, of course, because Eve is what powers your plasmids. If you use the machine enough, you'll discover another change from the first game. Now you can only carry 5 Eve hypos. Before, it was 9. Oh well. The first plasmid is always a huge rush, but this time there's another twist.
Daddy was sleeping for such a long time, and Eleanor has missed you. Find her and you'll be all better. Daddy!
What the hell was that? There's only one way to find out. Go after it. I get the feeling that little sister is important to me too. So, here goes. Once you fire up a generator, you hear a message from Tannenbaum. Remember her? She created the Little Sisters to gather Adam, then had an attack of conscience and started a sort of underground railroad for their rescue. It's now 8 years after the events of the first game, and she wants you to come find her. But there seems to be a new player in town, Sophia Lamb. We don't know who she is yet, but we found a diary she left for her unborn daughter, Eleanor. Hey, that name sounds familiar. I think we heard it just a few moments ago from that little sister. And slogans like "Lamb is watching" are scribbled all over the place. Clearly, she's become a big wheel of some kind in Rapture. Another diary tells you that Tannenbaum has come back to Rapture because somebody is kidnapping little girls from the surface and bringing them down here. Somebody has started making little sisters again, and she has to find out who and why and stop them. But that's not all that's been happening.
With a message for the people. Remember, Big Sister is always watching. To steal Adam is to steal the Rapture family. Your family.
Did you hear that announcement from Lamb? Big Sister is watching. That thing you just fought is one of the Big Sisters. But what's that? Whatever it is, you can bet it's trouble. Still looking for Tannenbaum, you hop down into a room and a Big Sister runs along the glass wall, destroying all the supports that hold it up. Next thing you know, the glass comes crashing in on you along with several tons of ocean. This is something new. You're under the water. Good thing your Big Daddy helmet has air in it. This won't be the only time you wander around the ocean floor, so get a good handle on it early. Speaking as an experienced scuba diver, I have to say the developers did an excellent job with the underwater stuff. The movement, the way everything is slowed down and you have to under-exaggerate things you do so you can maintain control, it's all as authentic as anything I've ever seen in a video game. Enjoy it. Now we come to one of the few places where I have trouble suspending disbelief. An airlock to get us back into the city. Can somebody explain to me why these would even be there? Who's going outside on purpose? Why? Maintenance? All the hints so far have indicated that happens from submarines or something like that. So as far as I can see, the only reason to have airlocks is for the player to get back into the city after being outside.
Isn't that convenient?
But for now, I'll let it slide. Okay, it looks like we've got some diving suits here and some tanks. So maybe there is some reason for someone to go outside sometime. Oh, what do you want now?
Once again, it's all wrong and it falls to me to point it out.
What's your problem this time? Need a plasma to light your pipe?
Tell me, Mr. Wiseacre, you're a diver, correct?
Yes, I am. I've been diving for 5 years and have about 350 dives under my belt.
If I were as snide as you, I might ask what you're doing keeping them there, but I have more important things to discuss. Did you look at those tanks?
Briefly, yes. What's your point?
Not very observant, are we?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Look at the tops on them. Those are welding tanks, not scuba tanks. Explain to me how anyone is going to breathe underwater with those, if you please.
Damn, he's right!
I believe I am entitled to an apology.
Very good, Sir Nitpick. That's one in a row.
Thank you.
That was painful. Back to the game. Inside we find a new toy, a remote hacking tool. This thing fires a dart at a distant machine so we can hack it from far away. Here's how it works. Neat, huh? That machine next to you is a dispenser where you can get more darts. Grab as many as you can carry, a total of 9, because this thing is going to come in very handy. A little further on and you find yourself locked in a room where you see this message.
10 years, Subject Delta, since I watched you put a gun to your head and pull the trigger. But take heart. Out of your pain, paradise was born. I don't know how you survived, but your suffering is over now. These men will ease your burden. Please understand that like all I have done, this is an act of love.
Subject Delta? Wasn't he the guy in the Bourne Identity? At least now we know who made our character shoot himself. Lamb, whom Ryan brought down here to be the city's psychiatrist. Most people think all psychiatrists are screwballs, but they're wrong. Screwball doesn't even begin to describe this psychiatrist. If you can hold these guys off for a few seconds, the floor will fall out from under you. Oh look, we're underwater again. As you find your way back up, Tannenbaum assures you that she can see what's going on through the camera in your helmet, so she can help you fight Lamb. She's real big on fighting her battles through other people, isn't she? She informs you that you're a very old model of Big Daddy. I'd prefer to say seasoned or wizened, but that's just me. Anyway, you are permanently bonded to Eleanor Lamb, Sophia's daughter. Eleanor is grown now and being kept at Fontaine Futuristics, so you need to get there. That means getting to the train station where Tannenbaum is hiding out. You finally meet her and she's surrounded by little girls. Surprise, surprise. While you're talking, Lamb comes on the public address and tells all the splicers that Subject Delta is an enemy of the people and to kill him on sight. Tannenbaum asks you to hold off the splicers while she gets the kids to safety. Like I said. But she informs you about another ally, Augustus Sinclair. He has something going on at Fontaine's place as well, so you hop on the train to go see him. Not at Fontaine Futuristics, as you might imagine, but at Ryan Amusements. From what we've seen of Ryan, amusement isn't really a word that comes to mind, but that's what the place is called. So you climb in the train, push the button, and off you go. That was easy, right? Uh-huh. You know by now that everything in this game is about as easy as licking your elbow. Almost immediately you encounter a huge wall of ice. What to do, what to do? Why, get another plasmid, of course. Sinclair knows just the one. Incinerate, which he used to sell. It's inside the amusement park, but you need Adam to get it, so you need to find the little sister and take out her big daddy and get the atom so you can buy the plasmid, so you can melt the ice, so you can... What were we trying to do again? So after you kill the big daddy, you can adopt the little sister and she calls you daddy now. In the first game, the little girls called the big daddies Mr. Bubbles, but I'm just as happy they're not calling me that. From here, she can show you where the corpses are that have Adam. You follow her directions to them, get ready, and then put her down so she can harvest the Adam. The problem? As quick as she starts using that syringe of hers, the splicers come out of the woodwork. So before you set her down, you need to set some traps, try to figure out where they're coming from, and be ready to blast the crap out of them non-stop until she's done. But first, she leads you to the Adam-rich corpse.
Daddy, over there.
Come on, excursion.
That was hard enough thanks to the damn splicers. But we found the body. Now it's time to set up a perimeter so you can protect her while she does her thing. After that, you pick her up and head off to do it again. You'll want to have each little sister do 2 of these gathers, as they're called. Once that's done, Sinclair tells you there's only one more task. Take care of the little sister by taking her to one of the vents they live in. Naturally, all the splicers in the area will try to stop you, even though they probably don't have a clue why, but they're fairly easy to get past. Those tape recorder diaries are plentiful in this game. In this part, most of them are by 2 people. Sophia Lamb recording notes to her daughter Eleanor, and a guy named Mark Metcalf who has come down here trying to find his daughter. Apparently, he saw a big daddy snatcher from the surface and found his way onto a submarine so he could try and rescue her. Speaking as a father of 3 daughters, I can't blame him a bit. I'd do the same thing. Lamb, on the other hand, is a true subversive. Andrew Ryan built Rapture on the idea that you get to keep what you make, and that if you work hard enough, you can profit from it. Lamb's view is a lot more communistic. She wants to undermine Ryan and take over the city, and is trying to train Eleanor to spread the wealth, the exact opposite of Ryan's approach. Ryan Amusements, we discover, is a monument to Andrew Ryan. Take a wild guess who most likely built it. Dioramas take you through the building of Rapture, populating it, and then all of the good stuff he gives you that the parasite wants to take away. In other words,
Rapture, good.
surface, bad.
Ryan, good.
Parasite, bad. You have now seen the whole park. Here's a good example.
Unable to provide for itself, the need of the parasite grows until war is made to justify. Your parents brought you to Rapture, where you need never fear the parasites again. So you see, there is no place for you on the surface. But you may bring the world to you. If you know someone who belongs in Rapture, write a letter to the Ryan Industries mailroom, and you never know. The next new face might be familiar.
Meanwhile, I hope you checked out all the scribbles on the wall behind what used to be Ryan's statue. While Ryan preaches the virtue of selfishness, graffiti by Lamb's followers preaches just the opposite. I just love a good debate. Oh, wait a minute. Ryan's dead. We killed him in the first game. So much for debate. When you get to the vent, you have to decide whether to rescue the little sister or harvest her. Sinclair thinks you're a weenie if you rescue her, but it gives you enough Adam to get incinerate, which is what this whole thing was all about in the first place, so you can melt the ice blocking the path of the train, which is what that was all about in the first place, so you can reach Eleanor at Fontaine Futuristics and find out what's going on with her, which is what that was all about in the first place. Are you thoroughly confused yet? 3 times through this game, and I sure am. If you rescue the little sister, there's this tender moment where you stroke her hair and all that, just like the first game. And you get some more Adam. If you harvest her, you get more Adam, but she won't survive it. So what's it look like if you harvest? Here you go. Swirling green goo is apparently this game's way of keeping you from seeing actual cruelty to a little child. Even so, I always feel like crap if I do it, probably because of those 3 daughters I mentioned. Sometimes it's hard to remember these people aren't real. So you make your way to the only gatherer's garden in the level and get incinerate. Now it's back to the train station, but you have to fight a big sister on the way. The nice thing about that is, after you kill her, trust me, it ain't easy, even in easy mode. When you search her, you find she's carrying a truckload of Adam. That works for me. Sinclair tells you to melt the ice, and you do. Then he says to go to the ticket booth and open the door that was frozen shut, and he'll come out and hop on the train. Of course, when he does that, the door to the booth you're in is locked. He scrambles onto the train, followed immediately by a bunch of splicers sent by Lamb. So once the door opens, you have to fight your way through them to get to the train. And now something totally weird. A warning box that tells you you're about to leave this level, so make sure you've done everything you wanted to do there before proceeding. That's a new one. I still can't decide whether I like it or not, but there it is. On to the next step, a place called Pauper's Drop. So the train goes into a security lockdown as it pulls into the station at Pauper's Drop, and you have to track down somebody named Grace Holloway to get the override key so you can keep going and find Eleanor. Turns out Grace was Eleanor's nanny of sorts, until you, in your Big Daddy days, snatched the kid away and turned her into a little sister. Getting to Grace is a ridiculously involved process, of course, but when you get there, she tells you the whole story. Now you have a choice. Kill her or let her go. She hates you for what you did to Eleanor, so it's your call. If you spare her, she'll help you in various ways later on. I don't know what happens if you kill her, because I haven't had the heart to do so. In this level, you encounter a couple of new things. For one thing, you pick up your research camera, which you can use to shoot movies of your battles with different splicers and gain extra advantages as a result. You also meet a new kind of splicer. It's called a brute splicer, and basically it's Rapture's answer to the Incredible Hulk. I can only give you one bit of advice when dealing with these guys. Keep moving! Stand in one place too long, even if you're blasting away at him with your plasmids and your machine gun and everything else, and he'll pound you into mush. Isn't that a pleasant prospect? Back on the train, you're off again with Sinclair as your passenger somewhere in the back. Smooth sailing, right?
Hear me, O ye who would murder the Lamb of God! Ye shall never reach her God! Kid, come on, wake up now. There you are. I thought you rode that torpedo into the great hereafter.
Torpedo? The local priests have torpedoes? Perfect. So Sinclair's in one place and you're in another, and you have to figure out how to keep him from drowning, blah, blah, blah. Considering you still don't know who this guy is, you're going to an awful lot of trouble to keep him alive. But hey, there's nothing much else to do, so off we go. We might as well look around a bit and see what we can find as long as we're doing okay underwater. What's this? Hey, check it out! Remember from the first game how Tannenbaum said she discovered Adam when a worker got bit by some kind of sea slug? You don't? Well, shame on you. Okay, I'll bring you up to date. See, in the first game, Tannenbaum said she discovered Adam when a worker got bit by some kind of sea slug. Now you're up to date. This is one of those slugs. He doesn't have much Adam in him, but in Rapture, every little bit helps. And you don't even have to fight a big daddy or a horde of splicers to get it, so I'm not complaining. After looking around and gathering the goodies nearby, you head for the goal. It takes forever, like everything else, and you have to defeat a boss to get to the pump station. This guy is an insane preacher, and his god is Sophia Lamb, or more precisely, her daughter Eleanor. The diaries we've been picking up from Lamb do make it sound like she wants her Eleanor to be some kind of messiah figure for Rapture, casting off Andrew Ryan's gospel of self and leading the people into the utopia of pure socialism. So perhaps it's no surprise that some guy who was already unstable went off the rails and tried to turn her into a deity. So the game includes a religious nut. Look out! It's a giant cliché! Speaking for the 96% of Americans who believe in some kind of God, I'm a little tired of the caricatures. There's plenty else that can be done with a story like this, so quit taking the easy, cheap shot and write something a little more creative, people. So, now that I've got that rant out of the way, let's go kill this guy. Once that's done, you can get the key to the pump station from him and go activate some pumps that Sinclair has been bugging you about. Of course, as quick as you do, Lamb starts giving you a nice lecture again, while simultaneously overloading everything and sending all the water on the planet your way. Sinclair tells you to get to Dionysus Park, but you're not going to make it. The last door won't open, there's a nice kaboom, and guess what? You're underwater again.
to be under the sea in an octopus's garden.
We've been here before, but check out the new decorations.
He'd let us in, knows where we've been, in his octopus's garden in the shade. I'd ask my friends to come and see
Wendy, I can fly!
octopus's garden with me. I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden in the shade. We would be warm below the storm in our little hideaway beneath the waves, resting our head on the seabed in an octopus's garden near a cave.
Well, this is exciting.
We would sing and dance around because we know we can't be found. I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden.
Wait a minute. That's it? That got me to Dionysus Park? So why didn't I just do that in the first place? Now I'm totally confused. Okay, so now what? Sinclair says that Dionysus Park used to be owned by Sophia Lamb, but one day it flooded and killed a bunch of people. I don't know why that's significant, because the next thing he tells you is, come on up to the train station. So, this is the place. Love what she's done with it. The coral is a nice touch, but the flapping fish might be a little over the top. This guy looks fairly edible. Let's see what I can do with my spear gun. That is one tough fish. Never mind. On to the train station. Something weird is going on here. Gee, imagine that. You encounter a reporter named Stanley Pool who was doing a story on Lamb and her activities at this Dionysus Park. And now that you've drained the place, little sisters are coming back in looking for Adam. Poole has locked himself in the security office of the train station, but he says he'll unlock the train so you can keep moving. All you have to do is get rid of the little sisters in the park. For some reason, if you do that, it'll bury the story he was writing. Lamb won't read the story, and Lamb won't kill him in some horrible way. Well, hey, doing the little sister thing is part of our standard procedure anyway, so it's kind of like telling us to breathe regularly or something. So you wander around and find the 3 little sisters in this level, take out their big daddies, adopt them and have them gather Adam for you. I wouldn't ordinarily do this, but I'm going to show you a typical gathering session. Remember how I said that when the sister starts gathering the Adam, it attracts all the splicers in the area?
Sure, Doc Lamb. You root around in my egg. You don't fit in!
As you saw, it's not just intense, it's confusing. They literally come from every direction, and you never know what kind is coming or what new creative little pinhole in the wall they're going to come out of. Once you start encountering the Houdini splicers, it gets even worse, because they can vanish and reappear anywhere at will, and you're basically screwed. The directions tell you to set up a perimeter before you set the little sister down, but it only marginally helps, because some of these guys seem to be crawling out of your butt. It's one of my least favorite parts of the game, and not just because it gets so disorienting, but because it gets repetitive. Every little sister you pick up can do 2 gathers, so that means in a level like this with 3 of them, you're going to do this 6 times. If you have 8 or so levels with 3 little sisters each, you can expect this kind of chaos almost 50 times.
48 to be precise.
Don't push it. I still have this.
Oh, all right, I'm going.
The woman makes you take off your helmet and shoot your head in the... Shoot, I honestly started to say, shoot your head in the south. As quick as she starts using that wizard of her... Let's try that again.